Alright YouTubes, in today's video we've got the masking and painting stage of a job. So this is a continuation from the paint preparation and the repair of this vehicle. So this is now the masking and the painting stage. So it's a Vauxhall Vivaro van, and we had a side panel wheel arch repair to do, little door repair to do, and a little repair to do up the top there. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I mask this job up and get it painted. If you haven't seen the previous videos, the repair stage and the primer preparation, go and check those videos out. So let's get into it. First thing I do, so once it's all prepped in the workshop next door, give it a bit of a water to grease, get it all blown off, blown out, all the gaps everywhere, as much as I can get blown off, get it clean, and then get it in here. And the first thing I do is sort the colour out. So the colour code's down there. So I stick you on the head cam and I'll go through how I sort of colour out on a vehicle. Right, so first thing obviously, get the colour code. That's the colour code there, KCA. It's sort of a combination of Peugeot, Vauxhall, Renault, Toyota. I don't know how the collaboration is now, to be honest with you. I think that's a Toyota van as well. But Vivaros were Renault vans as well. So it's collab of all of them. So I've got the colour code, and what I normally do is I put the colour code in, see what shades there are and see what chips I've got. Hopefully most of the time we've got a standard shade, and that's what I start with. I just look at standard, don't get any other chips out if there are chips. Sometimes there's not chips for a standard, which is a pain. So I always start off with the colour chips and look at it visually, see what there is, see what other shades there are, and see if I can sort of work out which way it needs to go. And if you can see that, look at how many shades. That's standard, the one with a star. These are all variations, and then we've got another standard there which comes under opal. So I don't know how many that is, 15, 20 shades. Got a variety of chips. So when it gets like this, it's a bit too much guesswork trying to work this out. So I'm just going to get standard and have a look at that. If it looks pretty close, looks pretty decent, I'm blending it. It's a little bit edge to edge of the bumper. Plastics are normally out from the factory anyway, so it's a bit forgiving there. And the only edge to edge panel really is the edge of the back door on that side panel. So let's just get standard out, see what that looks like. And to be honest with you, if I think it needs to go one of these other ones that I've got chips for, maybe look, yellower lighter, yellower darker, or darker there. If I think it needs to go one of those ways, then I'll go and get that other chip and check that. If it's not getting where I need it to be, then the Spectro's coming out to see what the Spectro says. And I've got to try and work it out from that, really. I like to, if it picks out a closest, you know, one of the closest, maybe in the top 3 from the Spectro, if it picks one out with a chip, I can check the effect and the metallic in that. And I think if that looks okay, but it's not quite there, I will go for a correction on that chip. I always try and stick to the chips. You're not, on this system, you're not going to have a colour chip for every single variation. That's the thing. Sometimes I haven't got a colour chip at all. But they're always being constantly updated, and new formulas and reformulas of some of these shades, and then they bring out chips with it as well. So it's a constant update with paint systems as it goes along. So let's get the standard one out. Fucking forgot the number. It'd help if I had a good memory. B72. B72. So it's B714460. B714460. Let's have a look at that. Ideally, I want to be checking these outside. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Depends on the weather and the light. So obviously colour light will help, especially to look at metallic and flops. So let's have a look at that. To me, that don't look too bad at all. Under these LED lights can be a bit deceiving, but the metallic looks pretty decent. It may be on These are sprayed out and they're sprayed out with water, so they're pretty accurate. And I've done spray outs with a job from the formula with a colour chip and put them next to each other, and there's barely anything in it. Application can make a slight variation and drop coating can make a slight variation in shade. That doesn't look too bad. This is a panel next to it. I've got room to blend, but this van's all original paint down this side. If I knew that there was something painted maybe on this panel or something, I may have checked it against the panel that I'm painting before I prepped it. Maybe, oh shit, let's take it off. Maybe slightly finer metallic. Try and check it on the flop. It's got a bit of a sort of a reddy hue to it. What I normally do now is I get Reese to come and double check and see what he thinks. I don't tell him what I think, get him to have a look, and then that sort of helps with my decision making really, another set of eyes. Can you come and have a look at this, mate? There's about 18-20 shades on there. Got about 4 chips. I don't think it's too bad.
If anything, maybe it's not blue enough. Not too bad though.
Bit light, what you say? Obviously it's LED lights here, isn't it?
Quite a lot of red, isn't it?
Yeah, reddy hue to it. So probably, it's got a bit of a reddy flop. It's probably light on there, light on the flop.
Yeah, like you look at flop. Yeah.
Let's have a look at the other chip. We've got a choice of everything, mate. Bluer, darker, redder lighter plus, redder darker plus, redder dark.
What ones have you got chips for?
Yeah, darker coarser, darker finer, lighter.
I don't think it needs to be lighter.
No, sorry, darker.
I don't know if it needs to be darker though.
Yellow dark or yellow light.
None of them sound...
Not even darker?
Maybe we can have a look at darker ones.
Let's have a look at darker then. B78.
B78?
Yeah, the chip number. Oh, looks too dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, way too dark, man. Look at that.
Yeah, that looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah. We go yellow darker. Right, let's see what this is saying. So out of the 2 shades that we've looked at, we've got colour chips for, standard looks pretty good. I just want to see what the camera says. Sometimes that's going to completely send me another way, but darker was definitely way too dark. So, and then we've got some yellower lighters and stuff like that, which I can check. I always like to check if it picks a shade that's quite high up on the list, maybe not the top, but it's high up, I'll go for the highest one that's got a colour chip number so I can cross-reference that. Otherwise you're going in a bit blind then. I always like to put all the details into it. It's not finding other colours shade-wise. So standard is the 4th one down, and the darker is miles away. So the top one is darker coarser. I did think it needed to go a bit coarser. 14320. Let's have a look at that, because I did think it needs to go a little bit darker and a little bit coarser, but probably being a bit too finicky. But oh, it's pretty much next to it, I think. Forgot the number again. Joys of getting old, eh? 14320 which is another one away. And percentage wise, there's not a massive amount between these, and it pretty much shows you that they're quite close to each other because they sort of go in a colour order on there. I quite like that. I think the coarser bit's better. It looks a bit finer to me, that one. I'd say it's on the bit on the dark side, to be honest. Yeah, that looks a bit light to me and a bit finer looking. Reese, have a look at this. It's not a million miles away, it's picked up darker coarser, which I thought it needed to be a little bit coarser because it does look a bit fine. You look at them to each other there, this looks a bit grainier looking. If you look at that initially, it looks really fine, doesn't it? Not as grainy. This does look a tad dark, and it's showing a tad dark on the screen. But I reckon the coarseness is better. Isn't it? Tad on the dark side.
Yeah.
But we said this looked a bit light. It looks pretty good on the flop. Whereas this looks quite light on the flop, if you catch it here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just looks a bit dark, doesn't it? Oh, I don't know. 0.87.
Oh, so the closest shade is one with a chip.
Yeah. What's the ingredients in that? 14, 15. Any red in there? 15 and 20 in that. I've got enough 20. Yeah, I've got enough one there.
20, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's mixed with the other. It's got some red in it as well, this one.
Well, like the bulk of the colour is the metallics, isn't it?
Yeah, they all are, aren't they? 14 and 15 there. Which that looks a bit finey looking to me.
Try and
Recalculate that.
see what happens.
I mean, they're never going to be, any of them are going to be 100 cock on, are they? Because the amount of shades on there. It's got down to 15. Took a bit of the metallics away.
Not a lot that's going to make a difference though, is it?
Added a bit of red, bit of white. Flop tone controller will affect how that coarseness looks. Added that. Bit more blue, bit less black, bit more the other black.
Yeah.
And tad on the white. Better, isn't it?
It's just edge to edge with that back door, but then it's a different angle anyway, isn't it? So
yeah. So I've gone for the darker coarser shade, which it picked out on the camera as the closest one with a chip, and I've done a bit of a recalculation. The chip did look a little bit dark looking and maybe not enough red looking, but the way it's changed the ingredients without me going through it all and boring you with it all, it looks like it's took it the right way, so that's what I'm going to go with. Colours like this where there's multiple shades of it, and this colour obviously varies from factory to factory and it's been over different manufacturers as well. I'm going to go for what the camera's telling me and a recalculated version of the darker coarser. Right, so that's the colour matching done with. I know I should be spraying it out, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to crack on, get it masked up, and then we'll get it mixed up and painted. Well, YouTubes, if you made it through that, thanks for watching. I hope you didn't find that too boring. Yeah, it can be quite tricky getting the colours right. When you've got tricky colours to blend, I know you're blending, so it doesn't have to be exactly right, but it's going to help aid your blend having the colour right, and there's a little bit edge to edge, and yeah, I try my hardest to get the colour to where it needs to be. And colours like this, when there's multiple shades and they go across multiple manufacturers, it can be quite daunting. With a load of choice, sometimes you're better off having just one or two shades to pick from, and you just got to pick the best one really. Obviously the Spectro helps. This footage is a little bit old now, so Mipa have updated all their software on the Spectro, and there's like an upgraded Spectro now, so it's a lot better because the newer software on the Mipa Mix Elite it gives you visualizations of all the effects and everything, and gives you graphs and bars to show the coarseness in the effect and stuff like that. So I'm still learning with it at the moment with the new software, but yeah, it's a lot better since making this video. So yeah, there'll be some videos and I'll show you how that goes in the future. So yeah, I'll show you a little bit of the masking on this. These 3 videos, I made 3 videos out of this job. I'm just going to put them all together in a playlist, like a sort of as a repair guide from start to finish. So if you've just come across this video and you're new to my channel, there's previous videos to this repair, and it's step by step really from the ground upwards. So from the repair stage right through to the primer preparation, and then up to this masking and painting. It's hard for me to try and keep my videos at a reasonable length, because obviously this job's quite time consuming and I like to show as much detail as possible, but I cut loads of it out. So if I really wanted to show everything I do want to show, my videos would be hours and hours long. So I'll do my best to break it down, and hopefully you can get some tips and get the gist of it if that's what you're looking for. So with here, like I'm masking this aperture. They're quite difficult side loading doors to mask, awkward to get into. So I use the soft edge foam, and I'm not a massive fan of the soft edge foam. Not how the purpose is supposed to be used for. It's supposed to be used for a soft edge, and it leaves a horrible edge, I find. I don't think you can beat, the folding the tape over trick. You can change the size of that soft edge to suit the application. So I like to use the traditional way of making a soft edge with folded over tape. But I like to use the foam as as a filler. So I use the part of the foam where it fills the gap in. So it saves on a bit of tape, and if you try and use paper and sheeting, you shut it, the catches ripple the sheeting and stuff like that. So it saves on a bit of tape, and obviously it blocks off that gap, so it helps minimize the risk of any dirt or debris from flying out the gaps as well. So yeah, I've done it like this for years, to be honest with you. I use a bit of my own soft edge and then use the soft edge foam over the top of it, and it works okay for me. So sometimes, you have to think where to start with masking. So I always start at the end where there's like this, like a side loading door. So I've got an aperture to mask. So get all the aperture, get all the internal work done on the masking. So all the inside work, so you can get everything shut, and then work your way around on the outside, like the top of that rail. Again, it'd be like a soft edge along that feature line of the top rail, and then I back mask off of that. And same again with the back door, where it meets the side panel, soft edge in there, strip of foam, put some tape around the panel that I'm not painting, shut it. It all shuts in nice. It all squashes the foam down, so I know it's all sealed and there's not really going to be much risk of overspray. Another thing, with masking internals and apertures and stuff like that, and having gaps there's potential then for the overspray to shoot through that gap, shoot out the other side, and it's amazing really where overspray gets to. There's always a bit of overspray here and there on jobs. Having a backdraft booth doesn't help, sorry. A downdraft booth, so you're sucking the overspray down underneath the vehicle, so there's less risk of overspray. But there's always bits that appear here and there, and you spent ages taping everything and masking everything, getting everything tight, all your sheeting tight, and you put all this effort into it, and then you pull it off and you're like, how did overspray get to that? But it's normally very light, and a little wiper thinners and a little bit of polishing will sort it out. So we're on to the painting stage now. Showed a bit of the masking, obviously I didn't show it all. And ready to spray now. So degreasing wise, I've sort of gone full circle. I use water degreaser and solvent degreaser. I don't know which way round is the best. Any of you guys up there, you tell me which way round you do it. For years and years and years, I never ever really used water degreaser. I only ever used solvent degreaser. Only in the last few years, 3 or 4 years, that I've been using both water and solvent. And when I first started doing it, I was doing a solvent degrease first, drying that off, doing a water degrease, and then I started doing it the other way around, and I'm not sure why. So I was doing a water degrease first, get off any like grubby bits. Solvent degrease sometimes gets off grease, silicone and all them types of contaminants, but it won't get off like smudges, and sometimes you'll have fingerprinty marks and stuff like that, and it doesn't really touch those types of contaminants. So yeah, I was doing it solvent, then water, then I went to doing it water first, then solvent, and I've gone back the other way now. Do solvent first and do water last, just before I paint. Do a few, you know, degreases before it even gets to the booth stage. Always degrease water and solvent before we do any prep work, and then once all the everything's done, primer and prepping, even primer stage, I do a solvent before I put primer on, and then after preparation and blow down before it goes in the booth, it has a solvent degrease again then, and then it gets that combo of water degrease and solvent degrease again. So yeah, a lot of cleaning. That's a good good thing to do in paint work, is just to keep cleaning all the time. It just minimises any risks of, especially places where you're just putting clear coat, there could be a little smudge somewhere that you missed on, especially on a light colour or something. You miss a little smudge, you don't see it. With it being prepped and matte, and you put a coat of clear coat on it and you see a little black mark or a little smudge or something like that, and it can just ruin a job. And it's normally in an area where if you had to repaint that, you're going to be putting colour next to another panel. So yeah, good housekeeping is a good thing to be on top of, and cleanliness. It's a dirty job, this job, so keeping things clean, keeping panels clean, and constantly being on top of the cleaning. You sort of got to try and be aware of risks of contamination all the time. Every environment's different, so I work with my environment. We've got a small little workshop next door. It's all tight in there. We've got a lot of stuff in there that we have to work around, and it's quite dusty. So you're always on top of, you're on top of the cleaning all the time, and the cleaning of, of your equipment. And you might spray something, you might be doing, like where I'm doing all of this, me and Reece doing all this work. We're doing the strip, the panel, the paint work, the polishing. There's a cross contamination of stuff there. We may have bolts that we can't get off on jobs when we're stripping, so we use freeing agents and stuff like that, and then we're conscious that it's sprayed over the panel that we're going to be repairing soon, or the bumper we're going to be repairing. So you've got to be mindful of all these things building up to this point here where you're painting, and this is what it's all about really, is being mindful of all the things you've done step-wise, cleaning-wise, up to the point of paint, because you've got to try and minimise contamination at this point, So yeah, there's a lot to think about, and when you do get contamination as well, you have to start backtracking. What did we do here? What did we do there? If you get silicone problems and wax holes and stuff like that, yeah, you got to try and work out where it's come from, and that can be a task in itself. You go through every stage of what you can remember, what we done, where did it go, did I wear different deodorant? Did I have something on my hands? Did I use moisturiser on my hands? Or any of these things you've got. Yeah, is it my hair gel? Well, I don't use hair gel, but Yeah, well, I know people that have worked where we are. The Honda factory was here, so I know loads of people that worked in the Honda factory and in the paint shop, and they had strict rules on what deodorant people weren't allowed to wear, and yeah, like all sorts of stuff, perfumes, aftershaves, all that. There was bans on all sorts of stuff like that in the paint shop, because it would just cause havoc in the paint stages. And it's like that, you know, when you're doing it in this environment. Obviously it's not on that scale, but yeah, it's all like, it's like risk management of contamination, really. That's what you've got to look for. So anyway, this first application here is Mipa blender coat. So Mipa blender coat goes on first, it goes over the whole job, fills in all those little micro scratches. It's not like a clear base coat. It is a separate product. It's not like the water-based tinters. There is a clear base coat on the scheme. I don't know if it would work as a blender. It's normally used for the tri-coats and the mid-coats. So coat that blender on and get that dry. It's quite critical you get that clean, that application, because it doesn't like to nib. If you do get any nibs in it, it's a sort of a bit of a rubbery type coating. And yeah, once that's on there, onto the base coat stage. So with this Mipa water base, you put a half coat on there. It's like a stabilising coat. You don't want to go and put that on there sopping wet. Put that half coat on there, get that dried out, and then I do it, if it's a normal covering colour like this is, I do the second coverage coat as sort of a double coat, and they're not two full coats on top of each other. They're sort of a 3/4 coat pass. You do one pass over the whole area that you base coat in, and then I'd sort of come back over that. I'll go back over it, but not as heavy as that first pass for sure. I'd probably retract the gun a little bit. So the gun I'm using on this is the Satajet X. It's a HVLP, and it's the 1.2i on this, and it's really nice for laying down tricky metallics. This is a real tricky metallic to do. It's got quite a variety of different shadings on angles, and it's got a really coarse metallic in it. It's got the coarsest one on the scheme, which is AO. It's called AO20, which is the chunkiest metallic that's on my paint scheme, and I had a fair amount of that in there. So you've got to be mindful of the metallic bunching and blending, and sometimes over blending, and I'm a bit of a sucker for over blending. Sometimes you can't help yourself, because visually it's hard to tell without any clear on there exactly what it's going to look like. So you may look at it and think, oh, it's still got a bit of banding, it's got a bit of shadowing around it, I need to blend it a little bit more. So sometimes less is more with blending. Over blending can be a bit worse. So I get that half coat on there, and I obviously cover all the repaired areas, and I don't blend as far as where I'm going to be blending in my coverage coat. I do flick it out a little bit like I would be blending normally, but I definitely don't take it as far. Now on this second application, so I do this in 2 applications, which I do as, like I say, as a double coat. I do the first passes and go a little bit further, and then on the second pass, you can see I'm not putting as much on that second pass as I am on the first pass, you know. But on that second pass, I will go a little bit further then. So into the blender, I'll take that second pass. I'll take that a little bit further than the first pass, just to minimise the amount of material in the blend. So it's a transition, so you know you want to like feather it out. You don't want the full amount of product right up to the edge of your blend. And I do that while I'm applying it, so while I'm getting all the coverage on there, getting everything covered, and then once I've done that, I go to my blend, and then that's where I try to flick it out and transition it, change the angles a little bit, feathering of the trigger, come in at different angles, and yeah, just get it all blended wet. So all the blending is really done when it's wet, but you do correct it, and you do aid the blending in the drop coat, which is after this is all dried out. So it's a fine balance with the trigger on that. I'm definitely not doing full trigger, feathering the trigger. It's a bit hard to explain because it's more of a feel than something you can see visually me doing. So yeah, get all that done, and then once that overspray's cleared, I just get it on a bake cycle at 40 odd degrees, normally about 40 to 45 degrees. Get that heat in there, blow it, less than 10 minutes, that's fully dry. Bit of cooling down time, that's quite essential. It was a hot day the day I painted this. It was a few weeks ago I painted this, so it was a hot day. I couldn't get the booth no lower than about 28-30 from what I can remember. So now the drop coat is 1 bar on this system. Use the full width of your fan for the drop coat, so you get that metallic laying over as much area as possible using that full fan. Pretty much full trigger while I'm going over the big faces of everything, and then again in the blending zone there's going to be a bit of feathering of the trigger, so not full trigger, and it's a balance of all of that. So you can do 1 or 2 drop coats, coarse metallic like this, and with a big blend area to do, I'll give this 2 drop coats. Most jobs I do just do the 1 drop coat, and it's sufficient, especially on lesser metallic colours, and ones that are more pearl and ceramic orientated. 1 is fine, 1's plenty. You do change the shading a little bit with 2 drop coats. They do emphasize about getting that making sure that first drop coat's dry before you put that second drop coat on, because you're putting more metallic and more product into that drop coat where it's wet, so it can almost have the opposite effect and cause some mottling then. So it's quite essential to make sure that's dry, and this Mipa Water Base, they recommend to leave the drop coat and let it dry naturally and don't blow it. But I do cheat a little bit because I'm in a rush most of the time. I do give it a light little blow, and I give it a light little blow at that 1 bar pressure, so I'm not getting in there with my blow dryer. I'm giving it a big volume of air over it, and it works really well. The metallics lay down really nice, even with this coarse metallic and that amount of blending and stuff. There was no, like, the tack rag wasn't catching any roughness in the blend zone or anything like that, which is a real treat with this Mipa Water Base. The way it lays down, it's, even if you had to do quite a lot of blending and a lot of flicking out, and you've got high metallics, it still feels relatively smooth, and your other areas feel it dries off like silk, and I still don't get any dye back in the clear coat. And I've used a lot of water bases in my time, and most of them I can see some pinching and some pinch back and dye back in my base coated areas compared to like where I've just put clear on clear. And I've never really seen it since I've been on this Mipa system. Maybe with some of the cheaper end clear coats it would do it, but it seems to do it in the clear coated zones as well. So yeah, dries really smooth, and yeah, if it's smooth, you're not going to have too much bunching up of the metallics. It's the bunching up of the metallics that can cause that roughness in a blended area where you've been doing a lot of flicking out. Like I say, you can be inclined just to keep flicking it, and it can have a detrimental effect. So on the clear coat now, I used Mipa CX4 with what they call their HX4 hardener, which is their fastest drying hardener, because this is a quick dry, fast dry clear coat. It's a 15-minute bake at 60, let it cool, and it is good to go. Got a short polishing window on it because it does dry hard. It's got real good gloss. It is a premium clear, but with the HX4, the beauty of it is it's an all temperature hardener. The HX4, you can use the HS10 and 25, which is a faster than normal, but the HX one is specific for this clear coat, and it's got a real quick flash, but it's got quite a good pot life, so it's got quite a good open window time regardless of the temperature. So you can do small and medium-sized jobs with it. I probably wouldn't do a repaint with it, but you can do a variety of sized jobs with that one hardener. It's the quickest drying. It seems to leave the best gloss with that hardener as well, the HX4. And bearing in mind, like I say, it's like 28-30 degrees in that booth while I'm doing this. They all worked okay, the products. They all behaved okay, and it's a good clear coat for getting stuff, you know, quickly out the booth. And to be honest with you, I could leave that for half an hour, 45 minutes, air dry, and it'd be good enough to demask and get out and probably start fitting up. Give it an hour or so, and you could polish it, but leave it more than a day to 2 days. After 2 days, you struggle to nib and polish it. So there's the pros and cons with you know, with these quick dry technology clear coats. They have moved on because they got good gloss and all the rest of it, but yeah, I find, well, with this one anyway, you have got a short polishing window, but it polishes fine if it's done within the time frame. So the gun I'm using is Satajet X RP with a 1.2 I setup in that, and put it all on at 2 bar, full fan, full volume at 2 bar. So that first coat, it's almost a full coat. You just want it closed over. It's a little bit skinnier than the second coat, so it's a little bit less product than the second coat. But I keep the settings the same with this gun since I've been using this. I have played about with the pressures, and if I drop it 1.8, 1.9, it's a bit too much texture gives out. But this 1.2 I settings, I'm getting on really well with it. I use a variety of clears here. I'm on 5 different clear coats at the moment, so, and they all behave slightly differently, but pretty much mostly the same settings for all of them. A couple of the clears that I use, the CC9, the CC14 fix, and I've got some CC12 as well. They have thinners in them. This CX4 doesn't have thinners in it. It's just 2-to-1 hardener. So again, I play a little bit with the settings then, but I play with the thinners ratio. It's 0 to 5%, and I go between 3 and 5% on the thinners. But yeah, pretty much most of the time it's the same settings for both coats. Depends what finish I'm looking for, really. You know, it's a commercial at the end of the day, but I still want to do a nice job. I want it to look nice and factory looking. And yeah, a bit slower, maybe a little bit tight on the overlaps, sort of going down both panels instead of breaking it up into sections. I'm vertically challenged, so commercials can be a little bit of a struggle for me getting up the top and stuff. But once you get past that top stage, I quite like spraying at that height. You know, going across a big flat panel. You can sort of dial in your technique a little bit. You're just going straight, and you can sort of dial your control in a little bit, keeping it all steady and keeping it nice and even. So like I say, I'm putting all these videos together as a playlist. So if you've come across this video for the first time, and you want to sort of look at all the other stages, I'll put all of this in a playlist, so it's almost like a complete guide of vehicle body repair from the repair stage right up to the final finish. And yeah, I really appreciate everyone watching my content. I try to put as much effort into showing as much detail as possible. I try to show a good variety of all aspects of this trade. With what I do here anyway, we're not doing structural stuff. but I do like to you know, break it up and show it, you know, show some masking, show some colour identification, stuff like that. You can run out of subjects really, but I'm always trying to think of ways to change it, and you know, so my videos aren't always the same. And yeah, I'd really appreciate, I really want to push to try and get myself to 10,000 subscribers. I've beat all my expectations with doing this, with the amount of subscribers I've got, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So yeah, if you like it and you're not subscribed and you watch my content and you enjoy my content, yeah, if you can subscribe if you're not subscribed, to help me to get my channel to grow, that'd be much appreciated. And if you've got any people that you know that may like my content and be interested in it, share it as well, that'd be great. Thanks again for watching, really appreciate it, and we'll see you again soon. Look after yourselves. That's the van all finished, so I'll give you a quick look, and it's come out really well. I'm really pleased with it, pleased with the shape, how that come out, and the repair come out nice. I'm really pleased with how this is blended into this door. Look, it could be tricky on a big panel commercial, you know, you're blending sort of halfway down, there's a big area to blend. And it's gone in lovely, really pleased. And look, I've said it before on my channel, I really find that this Mipa water base for a water base blends really well when you do all the procedures right with using the blender coat and stuff like that. It lays down lovely. I've not really had any major issues with blending, and I'll say it as well, I think the Satajet X HVLP has helped. I'm finding blending even easier now with that gun, and I'm not just saying it because I'm, you know, Sata fan and all my guns are Sata. Obviously I haven't got anything to compare it to, but I can compare it to other Satas, and the blending's definitely goes in easier with that X, and it does my 5500 without a doubt. And yeah, got the right amount of orange peel for a commercial, and as you saw in the video, absolutely tons of shades of this color, and the camera's done really well to correct this. Really good color match there. So obviously that really helps with your blending. If your color's really close, you know, the further out it is, the more difficult it's going to be to blend. It's quite a coarse metallic in this, so again that can highlight blending with all the metallic standing up at a different angle, you know, where you're trying to blend it. But really happy with the blend, it's gone in lovely. Nice big area to do, in it, on a door like that. Nice big bit of room to blend. And you know, a lot of this didn't need colour, but if I start trying to do blending up here and blending here, it gets too complicated. You're better off just keeping it as one blend straight through, as you know, as much as possible, or if not, try to hide it around a feature, you know, try and blend within a feature, because it just gives you a bit of a different angle and it's a place to lose it. So I always try to find a feature to do if possible, or just try and keep my blends simple in one straight line instead of trying to do multiple blends all around the panel. but happy with it. All come out well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it. Like, share and subscribe and all that good stuff. I could really do with my channel growing to help me to keep creating content. And I'm not just saying it, you know, I want my numbers to go up. And I appreciate each and every one of you for liking, sharing and subscribing. And yeah, look after yourselves, and we'll see you again soon.